Redman video series that I'm producing for White Tiger Martial Arts. This series of videos is all about the Redman Adrenal Stress Response class that we teach here. Now, every odd month we have a major color belt testing on a Saturday. The following Monday, instead of having our normal sparring class at 6 p.m., we dedicate the class to the Redman Adrenal Stress Response class. Any student who can normally take the sparring class, and that is yellow stripe or 9th gup and up, is welcome to come to the Adrenal Stress Response class. You will not need your uniform or belt for this class, because what we're trying to do is to simulate real-world scenarios and practical self-defense techniques that can help you out in those situations. However, if you are getting promoted to your next belt rank, don't worry, we'll still have a belt promotion ceremony at the end of class, and you'll get your belt and certificate just like any other normal class. Now then, the Redman class is structured similar to the other Taekwondo classes that we teach, in that it's broken down into various segments that we go through. However, what we do is a little bit different. At the beginning of class, we bow in just like a normal class. We bow to our senior students. And then we will typically go forward and listen to the instructor talk about a key tactic or technique for the day. This may include things like school bullying, stranger danger, what to do if you spot a weapon, or other types of scenarios where you may be placed in danger. After that, the instructor will teach typically a few key techniques that can be used to help get out of that scenario, and the students will pair up in groups of 2 or possibly 3 depending upon the scenario and practice them a few times over. Usually about halfway through class is when we'll bring out the Redman. This is a student, typically myself or one of my assistants, that comes out in essentially full body armor. We're covered head to toe in padding. And this keeps us safe so that the students can actually practice their techniques at full speed and really hit us without danger of hurting themselves or us. After that, the instructor will gather the students back together, review the topics for the day. Then we'll line back up and have our belt promotion ceremony for the students that tested the previous Saturday. And finally, we'll bow out, just like our regular Taekwondo class. Now, you may be wondering why we don't require you to wear your dobok to class this day. What we're trying to do is to get you to understand that the techniques that we train here are great. We often warm up, we're ready to go, we're in a familiar environment. But that's not always the case. Sometimes you may find yourself in a dangerous situation at school, at the park, the playground, the mall, or anywhere else. And you're going to be wearing whatever clothes you normally wear. You won't have had a chance to warm up and stretch. What you do need to be able to do is to be familiar with how you can respond and react in those situations and get yourself out of that dangerous situation. So what we're really striving for is a sense of reality in this class. Now, you may be wondering what I mean by adrenal stress response. Adrenaline is a chemical that your body produces. You can get elevated levels of adrenaline when you feel nervous, scared, or excited. Adrenaline is a very powerful chemical. It can give you an extra boost of strength. You can perform feats that you wouldn't normally be able to do otherwise. There are stories of people being able to lift cars off of people trapped underneath them, and we call that an adrenaline rush. But adrenaline does not always give us positive reactions. Sometimes our body responds very negatively to adrenaline rushes. In case we are nervous or scared, we may find out that that adrenaline rush actually causes us to freeze in place. You've heard of the term a deer in headlights, maybe? Well, that's sometimes the way that adrenaline can cause us to react as well. So what we want to do in this class is to give training in scenarios where you have an increased level of adrenaline and learn to channel that extra energy into a positive outcome. There are a few key lessons that we like to stress in every Redman class. The first one is it is always better to avoid a dangerous situation. We may not always have control over that, but there are some things that we can do to avoid certain scenarios, like school bullying. One thing you may not know is that bullies typically look for children that appear to be weak or passive or are unlikely to respond to threats. We can characterize the way that these types of kids present themselves as what's called a passive stance. I'll demonstrate. If I drop my shoulders down, I drop my eyes down to the ground, I let my hands hang loosely at my side, maybe I talk a little bit softer. This is considered a passive stance. and it's going to be more likely to make you a target for bullying. However, stand with your feet slightly farther apart, your shoulders back and chest out, chin up, eyes forward, hands maybe in a little bit more of a firm pose. This is what's called an assertive stance. Bullies are typically less likely to bother somebody who is standing and presenting this air of confidence that we can see in the assertive stance. Using an assertive stance is not a surefire way of staying out of a dangerous situation. Sometimes you can't control what happens. However, you can control how you respond to those situations. Another key thing that we can use to attract attention, to get help, or to get out of a dangerous situation is our voice. This often is the most powerful tool that we have available to us. What I mean by that is you are less likely to be bothered if other people see you and know that you are in danger. Scream loudly if you find yourself in a dangerous situation. Sometimes this startles the attacker and they may give up altogether. But even if that does not happen, getting other people's attention can certainly help you try to get out of that dangerous situation. So another thing we always try to teach our students is to yell loudly if they are attacked by someone. Now then, if using a loud voice does not startle your attacker away and you do find yourself being attacked by someone, it is perfectly okay to use whatever techniques you've learned in Redman class or elsewhere to get free, as long as you are currently in danger. You also have the right to help somebody else out that happens to be in that situation. However, the minute you get free, you have to run away. If you turn around and retaliate, this makes you the bad guy. If you hurt somebody, or worse, then you can be held legally and financially responsible. So the last thing we try to teach our students is, once you are free from a dangerous situation, you must get away. Never retaliate. The techniques that we teach in Redman class often are demonstrations of how we can use basic Taekwondo skills in a self-defense manner. Other classes will use basic Hapkido skills, like how to escape from a wrist lock. Stay tuned for another video in these series where I will demonstrate some of these basic techniques with the help of one of my assistants. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you will be encouraged to bring yourself or your children to our Redman class. Hope to see you there. Thank you for watching. 감사합니다.